Hello and welcome to the program. Since the start of Russia's undeclared war in eastern Ukraine, almost 5 years ago, more than 3,000 civilians have been killed and 1.7 million have been displaced. With Ukraine lacking access to its occupied territories, the protection of children's rights in Donbas remains a challenge. Nowadays, a plethora of voluntary organizations and charity, both in the region and beyond it, provide humanitarian aid in Donbas. Joining us in the studio to talk more about protecting children from the effects of armed conflict is Anna Gorban, head of public non-governmental non-profit organization, Intelligent Future of the Nation. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for the invitation.
So, can you just tell us a bit more about your organization and what you guys do?
My non-governmental organization helps children who in a difficult life situation and orphan children. And earlier I helped children who live in Kiev, who has no parents. But now, in this year, I started to help children who live in a zone of armed conflict. And I know that in a school in which they study, they have no books for their studying. And I started collected books for children with our Ukrainian society. And after 1 month on this action, I took books to this zone and met with the children, and we have a friendship now. So this is an action called Join the Future through Join Books. And I want that children in this region, in a region of armed conflict, knows about fact that we remember about them.
That you're not forgetting about these kids who have no choice. They need to go to school, and unfortunately, they live in an area which is affected by the war. So, what would you say is some of the feedback that you've been getting from these schools? What do the kids tell you? What do the teachers tell you?
Children loves me, children waiting for me. And this time, the first time I was in Zaitsevo, and the second time, and this time I go to Zaitsevo too, because I'm missing, I want to see these children again, because it's my friend, you know. They call me, they text me messages. So I always with these children.
So you want to keep communicating with them even though you don't live in that area. What other problems do children in areas that are affected by war, what other areas, what other problems do they face?
Except books and other things, these children has a psychological problem, you know. It's a very big problem, because many teachers, many society, many bureaucrats don't understand and don't want to understand this problem. But after 10, 15, 20 years, these children grow up and they start to work, And we must thinking about the future of these children. If they have some problem now, it will be a big problem after these years. So I want to bring many psychological specialists to this region reason to work with these children, because I want to understand these children. If somebody don't want to do it, I'll do it.
And what do you think the government should do to help them?
You know, now I tell you about one problem, a new problem I want to work out. And I tell you about the government. In occupied territories lives 471 orphaned children. And the Ministry of Society tell me about it. And I ask, why our government do not come back these children to Ukraine? And I appealed to the first I appealed to government, to the First Lady, to deputies, to support 25th May, day of Missing Children Day in Ukraine. But, you know, only the First Lady support this idea.
So you made an appeal to bring these orphans to bring them into other parts of Ukraine, away from the area where they're affected by the war.
And I want to go to occupied territories. I'm not afraid. I want to go to these occupied territories, and I want to see what's with these children now, because these children disappeared, and nobody don't want to know what's with them, you know.
So you want to go to the occupied territories and take a look at what the orphanages are like, what the conditions are like for the children who remain there.
Yes, because for 471 children was in 2014 14 years, but now...
Before the start of the war.
Yeah. Start the war, in the beginning of start the war. But now, after 5 years, how many children now in this region? How many children? We have to know, and we have to know how to know destiny of these children.
Right. So, what sort of strategy do you think that the government should adopt in order to make these kids who are living in these orphanages or going to these schools which are affected by the conflict? What sort of strategy should the government adopt?
I think government ought to have desire to work out this problem.
That's the most important thing, isn't it? Yeah. So how many children has your organization helped?
Oh, I don't know, because I'm not counting these children. I'm work with children who lives who without parents in Kiev, but these children always change because somebody come back to their parents, somebody go to another house of children, you know.
So they're like in the system,
it's a system. So, but I know how many children knows me, know that I come to this region. I said it, how many schools? Yeah, 5 schools in this region now. But I know that after some period of time, it will be much more schools and much more children.
Do you, where do you get your funding from? Do you get support from abroad, from organizations abroad that potentially want to work with you?
No. Now I pay for this by myself, really. And that's why I want that foreign ladies I was invited in this trip, that we want charity foundation have together, because I was winner of World's Beauty Contest, and I met with many social activity ladies. So I want to have a charity foundation with their women, with these women, and so that's why we can, and after we can help more, much better, you know.
So you just want to help these kids. I think your idea of bringing, you know, these orphans from territories that are affected by the war, I think is an amazing idea, and I hope you do get the support that you need, especially from the government.
Yeah, you know, when I was in UN after my first time in this region, after 3 days I go to UN and I appealed to General Secretary, and I said that in our country still armed conflict, and the children who were born when this conflict just start in 2 years go to school, and these children no difference in the sound of shell, you know. It's a big problem for our country, because these children
they've never known anything other than war.
Yes, these children look at ruins every day, and about what these children thinking every day. And General Secretary told me, and I said to him that we know solutions of this issue, but we need help from international society. From you, we need help. And General Secretary said to me that he promised me to pay more attention on this region and work out this question about Assad.
But he didn't make any concrete proposal, like he didn't take any concrete steps. And
any concrete steps he doesn't tell, but he say this. But it's you know, I believe. Really, I believe. In September, I want to go to UN again, and really, I want to say to him, thank you that you do about what you promise, you know.
So it seems like you have quite the task ahead of you, trying to get the funding and trying to get the efforts and different organizations involved. And I think to get the UN involved to help these kids, that's such a task.
Yes, of course. I want that our charity foundation, international, together work with UN organization, because what we do, we help children who live in this terrible situation. So they ought to help us. It's real.
It's difficult. It's difficult. Thank you very much for talking with me today.
Thank you.
We've been joined by Anna Gorban, head of public non-governmental non-profit organization Intelligent Future of the Nation. You're watching UATV.